Welcome to the Love Dog Podcast. I'm your co-host, Raina Butcher, here with our host, Dr. Sarah Hensley, the owner, founder, and CEO of the Love Dog Relationship Coaching Services, and of course, the Love Dog Podcast. You can find her at thelovedog.com and of course, all of her social media handles at Dr. Hensley.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
Not much, man. I feel like you've been gone forever.
I feel like I was gone forever too, and it feels good to be back. I mean, honestly, so I just got back from Alaska, and anyone who's ever been or never been, for those that have been, I totally get it. For those that live there, like I get it now. Because I always thought, like, what is the appeal of Alaska? Because it's dark like 8 months out of the year.
That I don't know if I could handle.
Yeah, it rains all the time. It rains like, I think like 314 days out of the year.
Oh, dang.
But like since I've been there, and of course we took a cruise, so we got to do Sitka, Ketchikan, Juneau, and then we ended in British Columbia, of course, which isn't Alaska. But it was just the vastness and really the wildness of Alaska is what's so appealing, because you're just constantly surrounded by nature. You feel free, the air. I mean, I kept joking with Josh because I was like, this air, I love this air. I was like, I want to marry this air. And he was like, golly, calm down. I was like, but my lungs felt so open.
Yeah, it's just cleaner, less pollution, I'm sure. Oh my
gosh. And again, I mean, to put it in perspective, we live in Lexington, Kentucky. Population in Lexington's like a little over 330,000 people.
Yep.
Alaska is bigger than Montana, Texas, and California combined. Total population for the entire state is a little over 700,000.
Yeah, I would like that.
I know.
I get so frustrated
With
in
people?
like high populated areas.
Yeah.
Like, we were in New York 2 weeks ago, I guess. It was 2 weeks ago. And just, it was so hot and there were so many people. So the body heat, I think, just made it hotter. And then the cars.
Yeah.
I was so hot in New York. I was
There's
like,
a heaviness.
it was very heavy. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm made to be. My daughter wants to be in a big city. That's like her dream, to grow up and be a big city girl. New York, preferably, or maybe even Chicago, where my brother lives. And I'm just like, it was a wonderful visit. There's so much really cool stuff in New York. I mean, really cool stuff. Lots of culture, lots of history. Obviously, we
Diversity.
did, diversity. But I get kind of claustrophobic a little bit, with lots of people around me. Yeah, I get, and we took the subway everywhere. And so it was just,
I'm just constantly like this.
Yeah,
like,
just kind of hypervigilant. Just
looking over my shoulder. Because even in Seattle, because we ported in and out of Seattle, and I mean, Josh and I were talking about it. Like, when we were walking around downtown Seattle and we went to Pike Place, and I mean, there's people everywhere. It's like Chinatown in New York.
Yeah.
And
we
I'm
went
just
to
like
Chinatown and Little
and
Italy.
it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming because one, there's so many things to buy, and two, you can't escape the people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's just so overwhelming. And I felt like even when we were sitting down by the bay, we were sitting on these like concrete steps, and I was like, I'm going to move down one. I said, because I feel so exposed, and there's so many people, and you kind of, like, my brain, it's not thinking the worst. I just want to be mentally prepared that if something was to go down, like, I could protect myself underneath that concrete step, like a take guard or whatever. But there's no way I could ever live in a big city.
Yeah.
I'm a country girl at heart.
I know. I'm sort of like torn. Like, I like having access to things.
Yeah.
But I also love being out in the country. And so that's why I think Lexington's just such a great compromise, because it's a very small, big city. So you still have a lot of stuff, but it's not overwhelming.
Right.
You can kind of get anywhere in Lexington in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like the 25-minute time mark is just where you can go. But
I'm ready to leave even Lexington.
Yeah.
I mean, I was ready to move to Alaska. I was like, I'm staying here. I'm not leaving. I love this
Raina
place.
is the most easily influenced person
I am.
on the planet.
I definitely am. But again, Alaska.
I am too, though.
Alaska, I felt so free. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I felt like there was this wildness that just came out, and it, like, in my soul. And I was just like, oh, I could see the appeal of wanting to be here and wanting to live here.
Yeah.
Because even looking at the vastness of the landscape, you could feel the wildness. I even went like deep down like a rabbit hole one night talking about like, think about like our ancestors that lived here. And Josh was just like, please stop. Just stop mind effing me right now. I cannot do this right now. But it was pretty funny. But anyway.
Speaking of travel costs money.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
Is money.
Of course, this is still part of our financial series. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, please go do that. We had Clint Jasperson on, a wealth of knowledge in so many ways.
So many ways, both on the psychology of money as well as how to use money, how to grow money, how to, be
I loved that episode. There was
steward
so much,
of your money.
Yeah, there was so much depth to that episode. So please go back and listen to that one. But this one in particular is about financial infidelity.
Financial infidelity, which was actually something that was very prevalent in my childhood, and it is something that I see happen in marriages all the time.
Yeah.
And long-term relationships. And so there can be a lot of different types of financial infidelity. So we have sort of financial control and sort of coercive control using finances. I see this a lot where obviously we probably have one partner staying home, does not work. The other partner is the sole provider. And often, I'm not going to lie, a lot of times it's the man that's the sole provider and it's the stay-at-home mom. But not always. My husband's a stay-at-home dad, so stay-at-home dads exist. But the amount of control that sometimes can happen, or I should say be a part of the relational dynamic, and it's really destructive in that situation, has kind of come to light for me, especially recently. And even in a local moms group, I saw somebody posted just about how they get such a meager little allowance from their husband, and then they're supposed to buy the groceries with it, they're supposed to buy all the kids' stuff with it, they're supposed to buy everything. And she's like, by the time I buy groceries, there's not even a dime left, for anything extra. And I guess it's been a big point of contention in this person's marriage, and she was really seeking some counsel about that. But I think that in those situations, women can feel extremely trapped, especially if the marriage starts to go downhill.
Yep.
It is a million times harder to exit a marriage without having your own income. And so I appreciate stay-at-home moms. I think what they do is amazing. I think it's an incredibly beautiful thing to be so involved with your children. But it does take you having a partner that sees the value in what you do and compensates you accordingly to what you contribute to the home. And one of the things my mom told me when I was little, and it stuck with me, and thank God she did. I thank God every single day almost. I think about this moment so many times. She said, don't you dare ever rely on a man for money.
Yeah.
And she said, I know, she's like, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, that's fine, but get a skill.
Yeah.
Get a skill that will make you immediately employable, because if you need out, you need to be able to get out. And after having gone through a 10-year abusive marriage, the one thing I had going for me was that I was an equal earner to my husband.
Yeah.
And so
you had an education. Education's huge.
And, I could stand on my own 2 feet. And I had a really solid job. And that was the only reason I could get out.
Yep.
And I know for a while, he would threaten me because he does come from more money than I do. His parents were much wealthier than my parents, that I still thought I was going to get railroaded, because I thought, well, if they pitch in, I might be in trouble. But thankfully, they kind of towed the line a little bit with him. Like, no, you hurt your marriage, like you're going to have to pay for the divorce, right? So I'm thankful for that. But I was able to pay the retainer. I mean, it was a stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, I did drain my retirement in my divorce, but our divorce got really ugly, and the custody battle, I should say, got really ugly. And so it was extremely expensive, but I can't even imagine being married to my ex and him being the sole provider. I would have been just completely
You would have been getting
trapped.
an allowance, and it would have been stretched. I mean, I don't know if I just met you when you and your ex were going through the divorce. The first time.
The first round.
The first round.
Oh gosh, it's so embarrassing to say. Like, it is so embarrassing. But at the same time, like, I hear about, I call it the death gasp.
Yeah, people go back more than one time. I went back like 14 million times.
But I was legally divorced and he was out of my home. Like I was, but see, here's the thing. I didn't believe I was free. Because, and I remember even I dated a guy who was, I mean, he was honestly a saving grace to me during that time period. He helped me file the EPO. He helped me stay safe. And I broke his heart. And I feel forever kind of a little bit bad about that because I was just messed up. And hopefully, I mean, obviously I haven't spoken to him in years and years and years, but hopefully he knows that, you know, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. You know, I remember telling him, but I'm stuck because the post-divorce abuse was so bad. It was the stalking. It was the, you know, I mean, I was stalked very seriously. And
the financial control.
Yeah, and the financial control. Whenever
how am I going to do this? How am I going to
Whenever he was mad at me, he would withhold the check of what he owed me for the month, right? And that was a big part of the course of control. And luckily, it was one of those things where even if he didn't give me the check, I could kind of survive on my own. I mean, it was really, really hard. I mean, we were bare bones.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was a point of control.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, you want this check? Nope.
Yeah.
You won't talk to me? You won't spend time with me? You won't, you know, because he was trying to get me back. And I thought, oh my gosh. Could you imagine if this was in my marriage? No. I wouldn't put up with it, not for one minute.
And I know a lot of people experience that. And I feel like in terms of financial infidelity, like the financial control aspect is sort of an obvious one, but there are others that I feel like aren't as obvious. That happen a lot in marriages.
Actual like financial infidelity, which is like financial
spending.
Secret spending was my dad's Achilles heel. Because my dad was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I do think, I'm not sure if it was an accurate diagnosis. He was very heavily medicated all of my life and childhood. I think maybe part of his like mania was spending. And so he would open credit cards without my mom knowing. He would like charge them up and then like not pay the bills. And he would put them in both my mom and his name. So he would just ruin my mom's credit. And he would buy, you know, he was a musician. He would buy guitars. He would buy amps. He would buy.
I didn't know your dad was a musician.
Yeah. All sorts of, you know, music equipment. And then he would hide it from my mom. And then when my mom would obviously be like, hey, this isn't cool. Like you spent $1,000 on this and I didn't even know about it. He would just get defensive. Right. I mean, my dad never took accountability for anything in his entire life. And so he would just say, well, you get to spend money. And my mom's like, not much, you know, on groceries and stuff. But money was, I would say, the biggest point of contention in my parents' relationship. And a lot of it was the financial infidelity from my father. And it's a betrayal. It is a betrayal because if you don't know that, one, your credit's being dragged through the mud, and two, there's this debt that you haven't been able to plan for or budget for. But at the same time, my mom continued to rely on him to be in charge of the finances. And I told her, I mean, it wasn't until he died and he was half in dementia and he was still trying to pay bills. And I think it was just one of those things where my mom just did not feel confident in it. Like she really struggles with administrative tasks. Like she kind of gets frozen, you know, because she had always been sort of the rock of our family and took care of absolutely everything else. So I think the one contribution she wanted my dad to sort of pick up was just pay the bills. Right? And handle the finances. But he was terrible at it. He was terrible at it.
Yeah. My mom, you know, I don't know if I can talk about it because it's so vulnerable. But so after my parents' divorce, finances, of course, were a huge reason why they divorced. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom all of our lives. And even though she had an associate's degree and she did work part-time, like once I went to school, but her goal in life was always just to be a stay-at-home mom. So, you know, my parents were married for 28 years when they divorced. And after they divorced or during the midst of the divorce, she pulled a whole whammy. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm sure this happens a lot, and you might see this a lot in your practice. It's almost like revenge spending. So there's secret spending during the marriage, and then there's revenge spending, whether, they're getting a divorce or a separation. But in this case, there was revenge spending by my mom, where she just went straight balls to the wall, like ruined my dad financially. Now, the divorce itself ruined them financially.
Did they fight a lot in their divorce? So it was like a lot of legal battles.
Oh, their divorce lasted 3 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Which, my dad, they had assets. They had, like I said, they had been married for 28 years. My dad owned a couple pieces of land, but she racked up thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in credit card debt. She also, this is what's hard for me to talk about. So let me just give a little backstory to my mom. All American girl, like cheerleader, beautiful, raised by a school teacher and a police officer, 2.5 kids, dog, cat, like the perfect little life. And I mean, her goal, she used to say it all the time, like her degree, like the only degree she ever wanted when she went to college was a Mrs. degree.
An
like
MRS.
She wanted to be a wife and a mother. So you're talking about a woman who had never even had a speeding ticket her entire life. Didn't drink, never did drugs. I mean, we grew up with no alcohol in the home. My dad was a Baptist preacher. And so her part-time job was for the Baptist Association there in our hometown. And I'm getting shaky talking about it because I don't ever talk about this.
I know you don't.
I don't, like, this is one thing I never talk about. So after the divorce, my mom and I moved to Florida, which is where she was from. And us kids knew nothing about this, but she was still working that part-time job prior to us moving. And she was embezzling money from the business. And it's so hard. And it's hard for me to talk about because I know the guilt and the shame that she felt over it. And she died with that guilt and shame. I don't know. Now, she paid every single penny back. And the irony is that, she paid like 15 years of restitution to pay this money back. And then she died like 5 years later. And so she had finally gotten like the monkey off her back of like in terms of paying the money back. But the whole process was so traumatic because we had just moved to Florida. I had no idea what was going on. I was 19 years old, and I remember the night she set me down outside the house at my grandmother's, which is where we were living at the time. And she told me, she said, "I'm getting extradited. Like, they're coming to arrest me." And I was just like, what is happening?
Wow.
She was bawling, crying. And she, for a 19-year-old, even if I'd been 39 or whatever, like it would have been so hard to process.
Sure.
But I was 19 and she was kind of unloading all this on me. And of course, this was after a just tumultuous, terrible divorce. But I talk about this because I know that I don't want to say women in particular, let's just say people in particular. It happens for multiple reasons. And you can talk about maybe the psychology behind it. When someone is in such a deep emotional pain, the dopamine hits that you get from spending. And this is what I think happened to my mom. She was in such emotional pain that spending was her only out.
It's called a Band-Aid, right?
Yeah.
So we could go into a whole episode on emotional processing, but essentially there's two main ways that people cope with negative emotions that are not helpful. The first way is to Band-Aid your emotions. And so that is essentially seeking somebody or something that can give you a quick hit of dopamine and serotonin. And it temporarily relieves anxiety, emotional distress, right? Serotonin is a huge buffer against anxiety. Dopamine is a mood elevator, and it's the brain's reward system. And so it can be a way to Band-Aid, right?
Yeah.
And essentially when we don't know how to truly somatically process emotions and integrate the story of the emotion into our psyche, which is what I teach in my hybrid program, by the way, then we if we have more anxiety, we'll seek Band-Aids. Avoidant people, they don't seek Band-Aids, they seek suppression and dissociation. So they seek distraction. So they will, I was actually just talking to our hairdresser today. We have the same hairdresser. We have the same, just about every beauty provider is like the same. We use the same people. And she was talking to me about how her ex-husband was kind of a gamer, and she just came to the realization at my appointment today that he was a DA. And she said, how do you know if somebody's a DA? And I said, well, they always have a dissociative crutch. So something that they are very, very immersed in order to stay dissociated from their body, which is where their emotions live. And so for him, it was gaming. But oftentimes the suppression strategy is work, hobbies, which can be very pricey. Some people have very pricey hobbies.
Spending.
Yes. And so emotional coping, whether it's a Band-Aid or suppression, it can be costly. Not just to your body and to your mind. It's very costly to your body and to your mind, but to your wallet.
And your marriage.
And to your marriage.
Your relationship.
Your relationship.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yes. So it sounds like she was reaching for a Band-Aid because she just, from what I understand, she never could ever integrate the trauma of the divorce. Like losing your dad to divorce was just something that she could never come to terms with.
No, and she never did. They when she died, they had been divorced for 17 years, and she was still struggling emotionally from it.
Didn't she say that she didn't want your dad at her funeral, or like to speak it? Don't you dare let your dad speak at her funeral. Like she said it specifically in her will.
These were her exact words in her will. To my 4 children, I leave all my belongings. To my ex-husband, I leave jack shit nothing. Listen,
Sorry, Rick. I love Rick. Rick was at my house today. We're close with your dad. Your dad's gonna remodel my bathroom, but he's
great.
A good guy.
Daddy's great, and but Daddy, there were lots of things that I think my dad did that kind of pushed her to those limits. I don't want to sell my dad out because, of course, it's a little bit different. He's still alive. But I think that if he was here, he would openly talk about it. I think there was some emotional infidelity on his part, which, again, going back to the topic, I think so many things, when you're talking about financial infidelity, like there's so many more root causes of why it happens. So in my mom and dad's case, for example, I think there was some emotional infidelity going on outside of the marriage with my dad through multiple variables, not just women, but his work, through, his social life. And my mom didn't really have those things. And so it was like her only infidelity or her only answer or her only Band-Aid was to spend. Yeah.
And spending is it can become an addiction. Have you ever read that book, like The Confessions of a Shopaholic? I think it's what it's called. That is insane.
Yeah.
That is some insane stuff. I remember reading that book years and years and years ago and thinking, how in the world?
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Hundreds.
Spending can become addicting because anything that hijacks your dopamine reward system can be addicting.
Yeah.
Right? Scrolling is addicting. Spending is addicting. Gambling's addicting. And money is one of these things, like we talked about last time, that there is a very intimate relationship we all have with money. And I'm not going to lie, I've used money as a Band-Aid in my life before. After my ex died, I went on this, and I didn't have the money. I did not have the money. I had actually $0. I racked up some credit card debt because I went shopping and I bought designer purses and I bought all this thing because I was just trying to have anything to hold on to make me feel better. Anything. And that's why I'm glad that I learned to really process my emotions, because I don't need those Band-Aids. I can gather safety in myself, and I don't need dissociation. I don't need, I'm not going to lie, it feels good to dissociate sometimes because everybody does.
Yeah, you're human.
But it can't be your primary, Band-Aiding or dissociating can't be your primary strategy of coping. Because it has consequences.
Lots. And I'll be the first to admit that in my relationship with my ex, I was terrible. And again, I think I was seeking just any any line of dopamine that I could possibly get at that time. But it caused so much rift between him and I. And that's on me, you know, that's on me, because regardless of how he behaves, you know, my reaction to it has nothing to do with him. And I think that that's, you know, maybe where people go wrong. They want to, I know my mother wanted to blame my father for all the wrongdoing that she had done, but regardless of what he had done, she had to take accountability for that part. And I take accountability because I would go, of course we lived in Harlan. I would go like drop ridiculous, like $500 at Walmart on nothing, on junk.
Yeah.
And then I'd come home and he'd be like, what is this, Raina? Like, what is this? Like, and that's a legitimate ask, right? Like, that's a legitimate ask to be like, what are you doing?
Yep. And money right now in this world, we have seen such an inflationary shift where income has not caught up even close with the inflationary shift. And it is every single day I see people on social media talking about how much they're struggling financially.
Yeah.
And when you have somebody who's committing financial infidelity, it feels like a massive betrayal because finances are tied to your ability to support yourself, to buy food, to put a roof over your head.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. And when someone isn't truthful or honest, or you can't be on the same page as your partner financially for whatever reason, it's a recipe for disaster. And they say, quote, money is the number one cause of divorce. It's not. It's lack of accountability, but that can absolutely come with money, right? Lack of accountability around money.
Right, that's what it basically
I
just said. Yeah.
Right, a huge predictor of divorce. And a lot of people come in to marriages committing financial infidelity because they aren't honest with their partner about how much credit card debt they have, or how much student loan debt they have, or how much whatever debt they have.
Yeah, that was
I have
a tough
seen couples a lot that are in their second, third month of marriage, and this is exposed, right? So you marry someone, and then all of a sudden you find out they have $100,000 in debt, and it was completely hidden. Right. But you can't hide it once you're married. And I mean, unless you keep like separate accounts. But usually when you're married, you sort of upgrade where you live, you know, you buy another car or whatever to accommodate your, you know, joint union together. And then that's where it starts to show.
Yep.
And one of the ways that I actually caught my ex in his drug habit at the very, very beginning, I want to talk about mind F, okay? I found out my husband had a drug problem 2 months into our marriage.
Oof.
You know, I had no idea. We were long distance, my bad. And then when we moved in together, it was freaking obvious. I'm like, where's the money?
Right.
Where's the freaking money?
Yeah.
You know? And then, you know, and I was looking at his eyes and I'm like, what are you taking?
Right here. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Because he was one of those addicts where he didn't have to do it every day. You know how like some people, and you never hardly see a drug addict like this, but you see alcoholics that are like, they don't drink every day, but when they do drink, they go way overboard, right? They're more of like a binge drinker. He was more of like a binge drug user. Like he could go days without doing it, but then when he did it,
he would binge.
He would binge, and it was super obvious. And so the way that he got around duping me was that I was at the University of Kentucky. He was at Western Kentucky University. We only saw each other on the weekends, and he just wouldn't do it when he's with me.
Right.
So how in the frig was I supposed to know? Because he was extremely well functioning, high functioning.
Yeah.
And so
even when he was drinking, he was high functioning.
He was the most high functioning addict until he died. Yeah. Which was the crazy thing. Or I should say till shortly before his death, because he always had a great job, always quick on his feet. He had very high IQ, you know, and oftentimes that makes it worse.
I agree.
Because you can't hit rock bottom.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? And the same thing with people who have money issues. That a lot of times these folks, they've had a history of being bailed out. Right? Like in a lot of client cases I've had, mom and dad have stepped in and bailed their child out over and over and over and over again. Then they get married, and the parents go, okay, finally, there's somebody else's problem. Right? Finally, like you take her, you take him. You know? It's funny. Your dad even said that today. Your dad's like, well, if nobody spoils Raina, Raina spoils Raina.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, well, yeah, I can't. I was like, I'm no better.
Touche, Pops. Touche. I got it from you.
Yeah. She didn't learn this life of luxury from no one. Right. Yeah, but then this is revealed, right? Like 2 to 3 months into the relationship that someone has a spending addiction.
Yeah.
And they have $100,000 of credit card debt.
I couldn't imagine. And that was a tough one for me because there were lots of things that I had to, I don't want to use the word confess, right? Because reveal, that's a better word, that I had to reveal to Josh. And one of those things was my financial past because I didn't have a good one. And I said it on the episode with Clint. I feel like every aspect of my life, I've got a pretty good grasp on.
Yeah, you're very successful, very high functioning,
Yeah.
and you're a great mom.
But money,
you're really good at your job.
But money is still just it's within my reach. It's just my relationship with it that I cannot seem to put my finger on, and can't really seem to get to the deep root cause.
I mean, I just think it's addiction.
Yeah. I think that's a piece of it. I think that's a piece, but because
I'm just as bad.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
I'm not going into debt.
No, we're not going into debt. We're spending within our means.
Yeah.
Maybe we could save more. Maybe we could put that towards more assets, which is what I'm trying to do. And I think what is really, really crappy about money is it's such a taboo topic.
Yeah.
It's such a taboo topic. And so there's a lot of shame associated with money in these situations. And what do we do with shame? Well, we can either fight and defend against it, or we can run away from it. And that's what happens, right? So we get the defensive responding, and we get the secrecy and we get the avoidance around it. And it's tough for these people because even though the betrayal wasn't with another person,
right.
it's still a huge secret that rocks the foundation and the stability of the relationship.
It can still maybe not to the degree of maybe infidelity with another person, but it can still feel like deep rejection. It can still feel like deep abandonment.
Yeah, because I didn't know you well enough, right? You kept this from me.
Right.
You decided to start a life with me, and you weren't transparent about what you were bringing to the table here. Yeah. And I mean, I'm so glad that what the crazy thing is? The one thing my husband and I never fought about was money.
Yeah.
Never fought about money.
Yeah.
Because I denied myself so much. And I think that's where my spending now comes from is because when I was married, I denied myself everything because my husband controlled the finances. I obviously had equal access to the money, but I knew he was watching and I didn't want to start a fight. I was trying to avoid, we fought about him having sex with other people, but we didn't fight about money,
Yeah.
And so it was just like, I didn't want that. I couldn't handle one more thing. So I just went without.
Yeah.
And I would, if I did spend money, it was on my kids.
Girl, I have not deprived myself of anything.
I did for a really long time.
I don't think ever in my life.
See, I did for a really long time.
Even when I was like, again, I'll use the little thing I like to always say, like, even when I was living off ramen noodles and a prayer, like, I still would go to my local Goodwill and I would shop and, like, I had to get that shopping fix. Or I'd go to the J.C. Penney in Middlesboro and I'd go shopping there and I'd find a way. I would find a way to shop.
Yeah. I it could be a Band-Aid. It could be addiction. Sometimes those two things,
it starts as a Band-Aid. I just love fashion. Okay, it's my art form.
And here's where it gets crazy. And so we should talk about Rent the Runway. We should see if they can collab with us for the podcast. I'm such a fan of Rent the Runway. This is from Rent the Runway.
That dress is really cute.
This is from, I can't even say it, Rent the Runway.
Yeah.
Because it gives me my shopping fix with a set budget.
Right.
And I get to rotate. So I send it back and then I get to shop for 5 or 6 new outfits and then I get my little dopamine hit, but it's always the same price every month.
Yeah,
to me, that is the most genius concept that has ever, because I found that I was buying things, wearing them once, and then I didn't really want to wear them again.
You would not believe the stuff that's in my closet right now with tags on it. You wouldn't believe. And it's because I bought it haven't had time to wear it. And then my style changes. Like my style changes so much, or like I'll just go through like little phases of like where I want to be, you know, a little more fancy, or I want to be a little bit more like.
And that's why I like the Rent the Runway, because I get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Like they have everything.
Yeah. We are not an endorser of
No,
Rent the
we
Runway,
aren't.
But if you want
we
us
aren't.
to.
But hey, if anybody associated with that business is listening, please reach out to us for a collab, because I am a big fan.
I did try it once, and I just probably didn't give it enough of a chance. I just didn't like the things I ordered, but I would be willing to try it again.
It's a learning curve. It's a learning curve with it, because like when I order stuff, like I really dig through the reviews and look at the pictures that people have posted with it on. Yeah. And there's some things that I have been like, oh, that's so cute, I definitely want that. And then I went to the pictures and I was like, that doesn't look good on anybody. Yeah. Like that doesn't look anything like I thought it would. Right. So then I, take it out of my cart.
Yeah. This dress is hot.
Fire. Yeah. I know I was leaving. My husband was like, damn, I want to take you on a date.
I know. And then when she walked in today, I was like, your husband needs to take you on a date tonight.
Yeah.
You
isn't that funny?
Sexy.
Yeah.
But back to
our topic. Sorry, we had a little.
Well, and I mean, I think this is a good. Actually, speaking of endorsements, this isn't an endorsement, but we will not endorse anything that we don't believe in.
100%.
Speaking of things that we believe in, both of us highly believe in the BedJet.
Oh my gosh, guys! Once you have a BedJet,
you'll never go back.
Will never go back.
I had to
buy them for the camper, and now I hate staying in hotels. And I'm almost about to just pack them in the suitcase.
Do you know how much I could not wait to get home to my bed? Like I missed my animals, obviously, but I didn't.
You missed your BedJet, didn't you?
I missed everything about my bed. The BedJet, yes. My Tempur-Pedic mattress, yes. My Cozy Earth sheets, all of the above.
Yeah.
All of the things combined.
It's magical.
It's chef's kiss. It's chef's kiss.
It is. I can't sleep without it now. I'm so spoiled because I go to bed cold and then I warm up throughout the night. So the thing about the BedJet is it is basically an HVAC system for your bed, okay? And it blows through this cloud sheet. Okay. So it's not blowing directly on you. Like I hate fans because I don't like feeling air blow on me. Right. I don't like that. And so the cloud sheet where it blows through the cloud, it's just this enveloping temperature. It isn't, you're not having it blow directly on you. And it really does puff up like a cloud, like you're sleeping in a cloud, which is pretty amazing. And you have the ability to have a dual system, so your partner can have his or her own unit, and you have your own remote. You also have a phone app. It was built by somebody affiliated with NASA engineer. It is quiet. It makes just very like a very, very quiet. It makes just a very gentle hum, which actually can lull you to sleep. Yep. It is worth the price, 100%.
Just if you're going to buy it, tell your partner you're going to buy
Yes. Speaking of the episode, tell your partner you're buying a BedJet. Yes. But the price point, honestly, is relevant for what it delivers.
It's absolutely worth it. And you can set biorhythms. That's the big part for me.
That's everything for me.
I will say it takes a while to kind of gauge what your body does throughout the night, but you can change the biorhythms, and it gives you an opportunity to set 3 different biorhythms where you can. I always love to get my bed. The best way I know how to compare it is like that fresh out of the dryer sheet feeling.
Yep. I start hot. Yes, I get in warm, and then it cools me down. And actually, the science behind sleep and better sleep is that your body temperature has to lower itself as you sleep. So if you have a helper with that, right, like the BedJet, it can cool you down as you sleep, which mimics your natural response and helps you fall asleep better. So my sleep has improved 1,000% with the BedJet, especially as a perimenopausal woman. Around my cycle, I would always sweat the bed. They have a dry function. It kicks into my dry function at a certain point in the night where, I know I'm around the time where I could be sweating the bed. I'm dry as a bone. Yep. Dry as a bone. And I just can't brag on this product enough, guys.
I know we had me onto it.
Okay, we have copy points we're supposed to follow. We're not following them. I'm sorry, BedJet. We're just actually going with our true feelings about the product. And that is one of the things when Raina and I started this podcast, we said we are only going to take endorsements that we actually use and we actually like. If we think a product sucks, we're not going to sell out and endorse it. So you can trust our reviews that we have tried them, we believe in the product, and we will continue using the product. So you can go to bedjet.com/lovedoc, okay, as the link. And you can receive
$50 off, but it's the dual system or the BedJet plus the cloud sheet.
Yes.
So those are the only combinations that the $50 off is good for.
which is a generous,
It's very generous.
discount. So please go check out the BedJet. We are so thrilled to have them as an affiliate.
You will not regret this purchase.
You cannot regret it. It will be, and for our male listeners, it will be the best present you ever get your wife.
Oh my gosh, I've said that. Josh has gotten me a lot of things that I don't use, like my Roomba and my foot massager, but my BedJet is by far the best thing that he's ever bought me.
It's so funny. When I was showing Donald, he's like, "Do we really need a BedJet? Like, are we that spoiled?" And I was like, "I'm sorry. I'm sweating the bed.
Yeah.
I need something. This perimenopause is kicking my butt."
Yeah.
And now he's like, "I can't believe I ever said that we didn't need this. This is amazing." And we just like want to come home from vacation because we want our BedJet.
Same. I could not wait. Because I didn't sleep great on the cruise. I will say it was the beds. In fact, in my review for the Royal Caribbean, listen, a cruise isn't the first way that I would choose to travel, but it was a great way to do it and see lots of places in Alaska and just really be out on the ocean and see the vastness and the landscape. But their beds need an upgrade, like bad, because sleep is so important when you're on vacation because you're doing so much.
Yeah, you have to be
and
able
then
to
the time
sleep.
zone change and all that. It's just like sleep. I was so sleep deprived on this trip. It's like I took a series of naps the whole time I was on the trip.
Oh, that's brutal.
It was brutal. So, and now I'm jet lagged and still living in the 4-hour time difference. Like I didn't go to bed till after 3 a.m. last night. But I will say once I did go to sleep, I slept like a rock because of my BedJet.
So if you're going to get the BedJet, just be honest with your partner about the purchase.
Yes.
Make them excited about it. Obviously live within your means and your budget, but you can get that $50 off.
Yes.
bedjet.com/lovedoc.
Yeah.
So
back to the point at hand. Again, talking about financial infidelity. We've talked about secret spending. We've talked about revenge spending. We've talked about
coming in with debt that you do not reveal.
Right. And then
Coercive control.
Through finances. Is there anything else?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about solutions.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, honesty is the best policy.
Before you get married.
Yes, before you get married. Because I have seen couples divorce at a couple months in because of this reason. And so it does happen. So just know that if you're going in, I know it seems risky now to tell them. It's riskier when you're already married. Divorce is also costly. So then you're going to rack up more debt for the divorce, right? If someone leaves you for your dishonesty. And there's help and there's resources out there for people who are spending addicts.
Yeah.
I mean, they have sort of AA type programs with the same structure for spending addiction, and they help you budget. There's some, really great resources out there in terms of financial planners. There's lots of programs you can buy. Clint, let's talk up Clint from last episode. Please go listen to that episode and reach out to Clint
like a
and his team.
financial counselor because he has so much emotional depth and what those root causes are.
Right. And so we just think it's like, we'll just stop.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy. If you're addicted to something or it's an emotional Band-Aid which is essentially a crutch for emotional processing, you don't know how to give it up. You don't know how to give it up because then the end result then is pain.
Yeah.
I think the better solution is to learn if you are, you know that you are using money as a Band-Aid, take my hybrid group, learn to process your emotions to completion, learn the somatic strategies, learn the cognitive strategies, because that is a real key to being able to not use money as an emotional Band-Aid.
Yeah. And I know this is all I have to offer, but I think a simple solution is, when you have the opportunity to just spend more time in nature and get more in touch with, really those surroundings.
The free things in life.
Yeah.
The free gifts of life.
Yes. Get in touch with more of the free things in life, which is, again, I'm a work in process. I'm still working on all those things. But I have found that when I get into nature, like when I was on this cruise to Alaska, I could kind of see myself living there and giving up all of the material things in my life. And to me, that felt very freeing. Like that, there's a freedom to that.
Yeah.
And but I don't know if I'm quite ready for that.
And one thing that I learned that I think I will never, ever, ever doubt in my entire life is that 10% goes to God, no matter what. That's biblical. 10% goes to God. And when you actually give that 10%, God absolutely rewards you for that. It comes back to you. And the more I have been challenged to give in my life, and the more I have felt called to give, because I try to be very, very generous. I don't care about being that rich. I want to be comfortable, which I am. And so beyond comfort, I'm like, okay, I can give it away, right? So I try to give it away to charity, or I give more than 10% to the church every month, or I should say every week. And it's God has
come back to you twofold.
It has come back to me twofold.
And it always does.
So don't doubt God. Don't doubt that you're tithing. Just don't see it as like one more expense. See it as this is going to be God rewarding me and placing opportunities in my life for it to come back to me.
Yeah.
Just bet on God. And that was actually a sermon that we had a year or two ago. Our pastor just challenged us, like, of course, the church needs money, but, up your giving.
Yeah.
Give the full 10%, like, of your income,
and even if you
see what happens.
And even if you can't give, like, just seek God when there's temptation.
Right. Or give what you can. If you only have $1, give $1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give $1 to the homeless person on the side of the road. Give $1 in the offering plate. Even if it's just $1, it's $1 that may buy somebody a bottle of water, or your time
you
too.
Give your time. I mean, that service is completely free. And I mean, going back to just seeking out the things in life, the gifts in life that are free.
Right. And that is,
those things are priceless, baby. Priceless.
And that is atonement for if you've had, greed, or you've had some problems with overspending.
Not to mention, it's something that can bring you and your partner closer together if you do it together.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
So
seek solutions. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial counselor, but I can teach you how to process your emotions so that you don't use money as a Band-Aid to your emotions. I think that it's probably more of a problem for people than we talk about.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So I think that's a great place to wrap up.
So, of course, if you are seeking financial stability or just really secure attachment, which I think leads to any type of stability that you're searching for, please go check out Dr. Hensley at thelovedoc.com. For all of our listeners, we offer a special promo code LoveDoc27 that will give you 27% off any of her hybrid groups, any of Coach Elizabeth's hybrid groups, and any of Dr. Hensley's courses, to which you have access to for life. You can go back and revisit it anytime you want. Even with the hybrid group, you have access to the course for life, and you have access to the video recordings for life.
Yes. So the recorded calls that we do 4 of them with the group. You can be anonymous in the group if you want to be. You can be a blank screen, and you can ask questions via private chat, and I will just answer them and not reveal any personal details if you tell me not to. And you can learn the strategies to really become secure and to have your nervous system only be reliant upon you instead of another person or money or whatever else.
Yeah. And it'll give you the opportunity to be more honest. I always say I couldn't have gone into my marriage or been as honest as I was with Josh, given the things that I'd been through, if I wasn't securely attached. Because it allowed me to really to be honest with myself first so that I could be honest with him. So reaching secure attachment, I'll say it all the time, it's the answer to everything.
It's literally the answer to pretty much everything, because it's nervous system resilience, right? And so you don't rely on, everybody in this world is running from emotional pain, and we have to learn to stop doing that. We have to learn to face our pain.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's all financial infidelity is running from emotional pain.
I saw a TikTok, and I cannot tell you who made the TikTok, so I apologize to the person who said this because I'm not stealing your content. They were talking about addiction recovery, and they were saying that the people that actually recover from addiction are not the people that are like, okay, well, I guess I need to quit drinking because I'm going to lose my wife or I guess I need to quit spending because I'm going to lose my husband. Those people never stop. The people that actually stop are the people that are like, screw it. No matter what road I take, I'm facing pain.
Yeah.
So I might as well just do the hard work and face the pain of overcoming this and face the pain that abstinence from this brings, because all the roads lead to pain.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever, I'm ready to face it.
Yeah.
But the people that are like doing it so they don't lose their marriage, they're actually just coming from a place of trying to avoid the greater pain.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so they're not ready to face pain. And so they move through it, and abstinence causes pain, and they don't know how to cope with pain. So they go right back. Right. To the addiction.
Yep. Yep.
And so I thought that was, really,
That is
really interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And I know that you teach a lot of that in your group.
I do.
Now, with that said, we do want to thank our other affiliate, Armra.
Right here in our cups. I have the blood orange in there today.
You know what? So I've never actually done the blood orange. I've always been like,
it's
orange
one of my
just
favorites.
really, orange just isn't really like my favorite flavor, but I did just order the pineapple. So I'll report back about the pineapple. But Armra Colostrum is an all-around supplement. That, again, I'm using heavily right now. I'm doing about 3 scoops a day, just trying to recover from vacation and get like my digestive tract back in order, because
It is a fantastic supplement for the gut. And do you know that you have more neurotransmitters, or I should say almost as many neurotransmitters in your gut than you do in your brain?
I believe it. They call it the second brain.
It's the second brain. And so a lot of mental health, it starts in the gut, but also vice versa. Like your mental health influences your gut. And so if you need strong support for your gut, specifically your gut lining, Armra Colostrum is an amazing supplement. And it has really helped my skin. I think it has helped my hair, my nails, because when your immune system functions optimally and your gut functions optimally, you feel better all around.
Absolutely. So thank you, Armra. You can use code LOVEDOC at checkout and receive 15% off if you are a first-time buyer or if you sign up for the subscription, which I highly recommend.
Yeah, mine just comes in the mail.
Yeah,
I don't even have to think about it.
You get an even bigger discount if you sign up for the subscription.
Yep.
So thank you, Armra. Thank you to each and every one of you that tunes in every week. And if you've made it this far to the end, we love you guys
so much. Please sign up at our Patreons.
Yes.
We want you to get the special benefits of being a Patreon.
Yeah, and get to see the full visual episodes, especially Dr. Hensley's dress today, because it is sexy. It is super cute, super summery. So please go find us at patreons.com/the Love Doc Podcast. And until next time, peace, love, and perspective.